I'll give you a quick rundown about me. So, as he said, my name is Mike Lemon. I'm a retired detective from the Bowling Green City Police in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And since 2002, I've had kind of one mission in life, and that has been to find online predators, these pedophiles who are preying on our children, and find them and put them in prison. That's been my one big mission in life, and I continue that even today and to this training right here. We're going to talk about a guy named Chase, and the investigation was online exploitation. So the victim we're going to talk about, she was 13 years old, and she was using Kik. Now, Kik was very, very popular just a few years ago. It actually has fallen off, and now it's coming back. So, the clothes you wore 20 years ago now in style, well, apps are about 3 years. They go out of style, they come back in style. So, but that's all she was doing. She wasn't doing anything bad. She wasn't sending pictures to everybody. She wasn't just being this person who's putting herself at risk. She was simply using an app on there, talking to her children or to her friends, and that's it. And while she's sitting there, she gets a message, right? And it's pretty scary, right? Hey, oh my goodness, it's crazy. She's probably freaking out when she gets this, right? No, that's not how these predators work. They're very, very nice at the beginning. I saw a post by a parent that said, I know my daughter would, if one of these predators approached her, she'd tell them where to go. She's 13. She doesn't take anything off anybody. If predators approached her as what they really want to do, I'm sure that may happen, but they don't do that. They approach being very nice, being very complimentary, saying how beautiful they are. Why don't you should have a boyfriend? I'd treat you like this. That's how they start out. But he started out with this. Hey, it's not very scary, right? Even though he got the scary face there. She says, hey, he knows that she is online now. Now she's online, and the attack begins. Now, sometimes the attack may take several days to build up, but eventually the attack will happen. This one here was really immediate. Hey, this is what you're going to do. You're going to send me pictures of you topless, or these bad things are going to happen. And that's how these initial attacks happen, is they have lots of fear and give them only a little bit of time to make a decision. Take these pictures of yourselves topless, send them to me, or these bad things are going to happen. You have 2 minutes to do it. So we hope that, our kids would make the right decision, would come, log off, come talk to us, or whatever. But sometimes they're not in that position. Sometimes they're more fearful of losing their online life than they are of actually sending these pictures. And so the demand is kind of really small, right? It's just send a picture. It's not a huge demand. And it comes with a promise. If you send this, I'll stop, right? If you send this one picture, I'll stop. And so in this particular case, she sent a picture of her standing in front of a mirror. That wasn't enough. He wanted to know, I want pictures of you topless. She took her shirt off with a bra, took another picture. That's not enough. Send me a picture of you topless. Then she took the picture of her topless, right? It should stop. He said he would stop. But that's when the second attack begins. All right. Now I have these pictures of you topless. You're going to start sending me more pictures, fully nude, doing sexual things, or I'm going to start sending these pictures to your friends. And I know your friend's name. I know your parents' names, and we'll tell how he knows these things in a minute. Or your teachers, your school, and post them on your school. You're gonna start sending me these full sexual pictures. And if they do that, then it never stops, because the more pictures they send, the more they're gonna want to. But this young girl was wise enough to say, you know what, I'm done. I'm only gonna send this one picture, and that's it. And so when he started wanting more pictures, she was crying. And in the pictures, you can see she's crying, taking the pictures. And she went to her neighbor's house, because she was home alone at the time. And she notified the neighbors. They called the local police. The local police called the local federal agency. Federal agency investigated the case, sent it to a group called MMGuardian, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. We'll talk about them a couple times here in this presentation. But what NCMEC is essentially this: of all the online exploitation cases, they all go through NCMEC at some point, either in the initial case like this, or if, say, I investigated a case that was a local suspect and I found child pornography pictures on his computer, then I would send those pictures to NCMEC along with who my suspect was and any known victims. With that, it would turn into they receive the case, they categorize these pictures, they document these pictures, and that way, if somebody else sees these pictures, they'll know. Or if the suspect is a suspect in other cases, then they can be linked to those other cases as well. So they're kind of the clearinghouse for online child exploitations. And so if say, when this case came in, it went through NCMEC, and then it went through the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, which we talked about a minute ago. With that task force, what it does is it's the state, like ours with the state police, and then it has local investigators, and I was one of those in our part of the state. And so that case came to me, and I investigated the case, got the information. We have to send out subpoenas to get all the information that we have to do to do the investigations we have to do. And then we have to go find this guy. And we were very, very lucky. This young man, Chase, had recently graduated high school in the spring. He had gone into the Navy and had gone through basic and his whatever his advanced training is called, and was home just for a couple of days for Christmas before he was getting ready to get shipped out to Japan and be on a ship for 6 months. And so when we did the search warrant, we were lucky enough that he was still there at his home. So once he realized why we were doing a search warrant of his home, and we had his computer and we had his cell phone, he was pretty quick to confess to what he was doing. And this was what he was doing. He was not alone. This wasn't just him. He's a young man, 18 or 19 years old. So like I said, we think about this being just the weird old guy in his mom's basement, right? This is not the case. This is somebody who is a young African-American male who does not fit the typical thought of, we think of the typical predator online. Very nice man, very talking to him. He's very articulate, very, yes, sir, no, sir. This is what very, very driven in what he was doing, wanted to be in the Navy. It had everything going for him. Not the kid that you would think would be doing this, but he was. And like I said, he was not alone. He was actually just one of a group of men who were exploiting these children and in saving these pictures as a group. So something that he talked to us about is he actually had a target. And so many times these predators have targets. So it's not usually just random, just pick here, kid here, there. No, it's either, a certain age kind of young boy. Maybe it's a certain age young girl. Maybe it's a certain age young boy in a certain race or hair color. It can be all different types of things. And what he was looking for, 12 to 16-year-old females who were on Instagram and who had a kick handle. So he had kind of requirements for who he was going to exploit. And the last thing there is pre-attack reconnaissance, right? So he's doing reconnaissance. So he told me he would scroll through Instagram and he's looking for these requirements. Had to be 12 to 16, looks to be 12 to 16 years old. Had to have an open profile, right? That profile had to be open. And then he was targeting specific girls as far as girls he thought that, they may be up for sending a picture under the right circumstance anyways. So he had all these different kind of requirements of what he was looking at, what was wanting in a girl. So, they do this reconnaissance. They do this, they have a certain target they're looking for. So we can use that information really to help us as parents, right? To help us as parents of what are we supposed to do? Now there's some lessons here. Some big lessons that we can learn from this case. Number one is there are no kiddie sections in the apps, right? There are no kiddie sections that when you go into Instagram, when you go into Snap, when you go into TikTok, there's nothing in there that says that, okay, you're under 16, you're under 18. You can go here and nobody else can, no adult can reach you. So I was talking to or messaging a parent a little bit earlier today about a comment she made of, there's my child is, I can't remember how, like 9 or 10 years old, and they want to be on Snapchat. Well, I've seen the same kind of comment in different groups, and so kind of we'll talk about this right now. By law, just overall, by law, your child cannot be online before they're 13. And when I say online, I'm talking about being signed up for social media. So you have to be at least 13 years old. It's called the Child Online Privacy Protection Act, or COPA. And it says that if Facebook or Instagram is going to allow somebody who is 12 years old or younger to be online, and they store their information, they have to go through all these different things. They have to verify their age, get this permission from their parents, written permission, all these different things. So these apps say, okay, you have to be 13 years or older, and we don't have, we're not going to talk to, we're not going to be allowed to be on there if you're 12 or younger. So if your child's online or on social media and know this, they've said they're 13. All right. They've had to lie to get on there. And that kind of brings into, just the parental piece of this, of every app that you allow them to be on, they have to lie to be on there. So what are we teaching our kids? All right. That's really not the point of this training, but we got to think about that as well. What are we teaching our kids when we say that it's okay for them to do that? Let me get back on here. So let's see. All right, there's no cases. I really, when we do trainings, I have a simple way to really explain this. Is that, well, is this app safer than that app? Well, here's the thing. Apps are like bars, right? So if you take your child to, say, Applebee's at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you go into the bar section, there's people, there's money, and there's alcohol, right? If you go into a club at 2 o'clock in the morning, there's money, there's people, there's alcohol. Same things, but there's different atmospheres. When you look at, say, Instagram, or you look at, say, Snapchat, there are different types of atmospheres going on there. Instagram's basis for sharing photos. Snapchat basis is hiding information. It's a different type of atmosphere. And so you got to think about what account you want your child to be on and what app, if you're going to be on there. So if your child is 10 years old, 11 years old, 12 years old, no, they're not even supposed to be on there to begin with. And if you're going to let them on there, know that there's no kiddie section, right? So essentially, the Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, everything says if you're 13 years old, you are now an internet adult. You have full access to everything that every adult does. So think about that as a parent. Do you want your child to be on there? And so we know from talking to Chase that he was doing reconnaissance, and one of the things he said was he's basically his finger scrolling, taking his phone, scrolling up, looking at all these accounts, seeing who fits his profile. 12 to 16 years old, had to look like somebody that may send a picture, may be up for sending pictures. Had to have a kick handle because Instagram, or in his mind, Instagram was more dangerous to do a attack on. He would wait until they had their own kick handle on there, and so he'd go over to Kick, and today would be Snapchat or TikTok, and on the kid's profile say, "Hey, follow me on Kick, and here's my username." And so he'd go over to Kick, he'd find them, and he'd start the attack. So two things to know there. One is he had, if your account was open, he could research you. He could find out more about you. If the account was private and it was locked down, he said he would keep scrolling. So it's a very, very important thing just to think about right off the bat. If your child's account is open where other people can see it, other people can comment, other people can reach out to your child, you have a big door going into your child's life. You know, another thing I say is that apps are like windows in your children's bedroom, right? The child can see the whole world from that bedroom, but the whole world can also see your child through that same window. And so think about these of who you're allowing and how you're allowing these windows to be in your child's bedroom. So lock down your child's account, right? Lock it down, and make sure that it's private, that people cannot message them, that people cannot contact them without your knowledge or allowing it. Another lesson is this: what you post is what you attract. Like I said, his determination whether he was going to really attack this child was what they're posting. So if they look like they'd probably be easy prey to, you know, that maybe they're probably already sending these pictures because of what they're posting, what they're wearing. And I'm not saying that's right. It's whatever you want to post and wear is up to you. But know that these predators are looking for that. And so he specifically was looking for girls who would look like they probably would be sending these types of pictures anyway. And so, because he knew if they've already sent one, then sending him one probably wouldn't be that big of a deal. And a third of there is have a plan, right? Something that in this case particularly was really stood out to me is this: out of the the one investigation, we ended up finding on his computer over 30 victims that he had exploited, took pictures of, and we're sharing these pictures with other predators just like him. But the thing that stood out most is out of those 30 some victims, and I've been able to pull up his chat messaging on Kick, and he was doing this to hundreds of girls. You know, the same thing. Hey, attack begins. Most of the girls luckily told him, I said on this video, but they told him where to go. I'll tell you that much. And so a lot of these girls did that. So a very small percentage of the girls actually sent pictures. So if we got 35, 36, 40 victims, and there's another 100, 200, 1,000 other potential victims, guess how many complaints we had on him? Like I said, they all go through the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. But I can tell you this: we knew of two other complaints, or one other complaint. There's two total complaints against him and his profile he was using. And in this, I have no doubt in my mind that the reason that the children did not notify their parents when this happened is because they were very, very afraid of losing their online life. And like I said, we trained from 3rd grade to 12th grade, right? And we've trained a lot of kids, and in these interactions, we know that these kids have a different online life than we have. So I have my life, I have my online life, right? I have Facebook or Instagram or whatever. These kids, their online life is their life. And so many times we see, how many times have you seen a group of kids walking around all on their phone? They're all chatting with each other, right? But they're not actually talking. And so to have a plan with your kid, to have an actual discussion with them beforehand, pre-planning if something happens. We say there's really 4 cores to your child's safeties. 1 is your education. 2 is your child's education. 3 is having a plan, having a written contract, and 4 is the technology with using things such as MMGuardian. And so to have that plan is really something as simple as having a contract. This is what we expect from you. This is what you can expect from us. And this is a big point here. You need to have an out clause. It's okay. You're not going to be in trouble. Even if you screwed up, come to us. If you are exploited, if you are approached by somebody, you will not be in trouble. Just come to us. Now, people say, "Oh, they screwed up," whatever. I don't care. To be honest with you, I don't care if my child has screwed up and done something bad, and there's something they shouldn't have done against that contract. out of 100 or 1,000 people, and just this one case who were approached and they tried to be exploited, 2 people were called the police. If anyone in the beforehand, if more people would have called the police, somebody would have made an investigation and stopped this girl who's 13-year-old from being exploited. Now she's exploited. Now she has these pictures out there forever. Now she's got mental health issues. She's in counseling, things that should never happen to her because she's afraid of losing her online life. So I want my kids and I want your kids to be able to come to you first and say, hey, this is exactly what happened. I know I messed up. We can deal with that later, but just make sure they understand that they can come to you. They need to come to you immediately if something happens, if they're ever approached, to have that plan. So having a contract is huge. Having a contract. So think about this just for a minute. In the time it took for this exploitation to happen to the victim, to contact the local police, to start their investigation, to start their local federal investigation, to contact National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, for the center to find one of our local agents, federal agents, and for them to deliver that case to me, and me to do the investigation to find him and to arrest him, was around 6 months. It takes a lot of time to get all this paperwork through. And it came to me, I think, in November. So it took me about a month to send out the appropriate paperwork, find out to verify who this person was, and just to get that search warrant ready. So now take that 6 months. How many of those girls that I saw on that computer were in there after this victim was victimized? Many, right? How many girls were exploited online? Many. During this 6 months. Even when he was in basic, which would surprise me. I didn't know the kid that recruits could use computers in basic, but they can. And he was exploiting girls even while he was in the basic training. But if we can cut down this time straight from the victimization, the case that happened, straight to NCMEC, and then push that through, we would have saved 4 months, 4.5 months on this investigation. During that 4 months, we'd have saved other children from being victimized. We'd have saved him being able to victimize other people. And we would have, if we can speed that up, all those children who were victimized during that time would not be victims. And so speeding these things up are really important to us because it makes children safer. And so I'll turn this back over to Coley and to talk about what this new feature is that they have. But I want to make sure you understand is that, technology is a big piece to this. And the fact of what Coley's getting ready to talk about, it really gets me excited because it makes kids safer. And that's what we're all about.
So the new feature that Mike was talking about, it allows parents to report predators when they receive a predator alert from MMGuardian. So you have your parent app, you'll receive a notification, you'll open it, and then you'll see the option, and you can report it to us with some very basic information. We will have a trained MMGuardian team member to verify and then pass this information over to Cyber Tipline, which is a branch of NCMEC, what Mike was talking about. So we started beta testing this in November, and we've submitted over 20 reports to Cyber Tipline about real predators. And we've already been contacted. We've already been contacted by law enforcement looking into these cases. I'm so excited about having this real world impact and being able to help expedite this process of catching predators and preemptively protecting other children like Mike was talking about. And, as I said before, MMGuardian warns about way more than just predators. In 2020 alone, over 800 million messages and 400 million pictures were analyzed by AI, and 2.5 million alerts were sent to parents. We hear not infrequently from parents who tell us that our app has saved children's lives. But even if you don't use MMGuardian, I cannot emphasize how important it is to talk to your children and other parents about these topics and predators in particular. I've seen these conversations between predators and children in these reports that we send, and it's just really disturbing what predators say to children and how willing and open children are to provide whatever they're asked for.